welcome to it. Just watched the Dolphins and Commanders game and just wanted to give a quick overview of kind of what I saw. Uh, well, it wasn't bad at all, actually. There's some things that I have some problems with, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about the good things first. Number one, Tua played one possession, and he went 5 for 5 for 51 yards and had one touchdown. Just one possession, and I tell you what, when the Dolphins have him playing quarterback, it's a different team. They were efficient. They were fast. They moved down the field. Even the run plays seemed to work better. And I'm not too sure because they were playing against the ones from Washington. It wasn't second stringers playing against Tua. But Tua was fluid and he was accurate always, like as always. The Dolphins just looked pretty good with him behind center. 5 for 5, 51 yards, one touchdown, and the touchdown pass was, I think it was 13 or 14 yards, but it was to the back corner of the end zone over the shoulder, and it was incredible, and I feel like it gives me a worry, not for Tua, but for the other quarterbacks. So the touchdown was to River Craycraft, and it was a fantastic pass, fantastic catch, and the defense on it wasn't even that bad. It was just you couldn't defend a ball thrown like that, and I'm not sure there's many quarterbacks in the league that could have thrown a ball that good. So kudos to Tua. I'm happy to have him as our quarterback. I don't care what any of the haters say. I mean, you can say what you want, but he's a fantastic quarterback, and he's just getting better. He looks super comfortable the whole time during the game. You can see him laughing and having a good time on the sideline, chatting it up with everybody, just really, really enjoying being on the field. So River Craycraft got that one touchdown, and as soon as Tua went out, that was pretty much it. We had 2 field goals. Sanders was 2 for 3. He missed one field goal. I think it was a 49-yarder. Whatever. I would have liked to have seen him be perfect, since he made a 50-plus yarder the last game. I was hoping that he would have made that 49-yarder, but missed it a little tiny bit wide right, I think. So, and also keep in mind that when Tua was playing that first possession, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and OBJ were not playing. So he was playing with the number 2s for receivers. And it didn't matter. They looked like all first team when they were playing with Tua. Tua did great. I don't have anything to say about him other than that. Everything was fine with Tua. And in fact, after seeing that possession, I'm not sure you play him in the third game. Personally, I mean, you don't really want to risk it, and he's ready for the season, so I don't see any need to play anymore for him. But if he does great, I like watching him play. I like watching how the team plays with him. So, let's see, what else do I have here? I want to talk about the quarterback situation. Mike White and Skylar Thompson. While today they did look a little better stat-wise, I mean you can be the judge. I mean, Mike White, he didn't play as much as Skylar did. He was 11 of 20 for 116 yards. No touchdowns, obviously, but also no interceptions, and that was good. He just looks like he takes a little too long back there. He's a little slow on the uptake. But 11 of 20 for 116, 5.88 yard average. I think that's like a 70-something passer rating. So not great, but not absolutely terrible. Maybe serviceable as a second-string quarterback. But, I mean, I'd like to see more out of our second-string quarterback. Uh, Skylar Thompson played most of this game. Tua played the first possession of the first quarter, just the first possession, and Skylar Thompson didn't get taken out until I think 9 minutes before half. Well, no, he played into the third, so about 8 or 9 minutes left in the third is when he got taken out. So Skylar played the most of the game, and his stats weren't as good as Mike White. Skylar went 8 for 15 for 61 yards. He had a 63.5% passer rating. So the other thing is neither one of them had a pick, thrown through a pick, so that's good. But let's talk sacks. Mike White took 3 sacks for a total of 20 yards. And Skylar took 1 sack for 6 yards. You're going to take sacks. That's going to happen. I think Mike White taking 3 sacks was a little bit ridiculous. I mean, you do have the opportunity to throw the friggin' ball away and not put your team back 6-7 yards a pop. So something there just to kind of think about. It is what it is. Our quarterback situation from second and third is not good. And I'm not saying go sign Ryan Tannehill, but maybe go sign Ryan Tannehill. I mean, at this point, you're looking at a really, really, really sad quarterback situation for us. I mean, our first string quarterback too was doing great. I really couldn't expect any more from him on his possession. But after Tua, what are we gonna do? What happens if Tua needs a week off? What happens if he stubs his toe or sprains his ankle and can't play for some reason or whatever? We need something there. I really, really wish Skylar would just step up. But every time he goes back there, you see him pat the ball 4 or 5 times as he's bouncing around and puts himself in a panic. You pat that ball that much, you're going to get sacked or you're going to lose the football. And every time, just running around in a panic, it seems like. Not looking downfield after a few seconds. 2 or 3 seconds goes by, he pats that ball 7 or 8 times in those seconds, and as soon as he starts patting that ball, Skylar's not going to do anything with the ball. Every single time. Watch the game. Watch any game with Skylar. Watch the games from a couple years ago. From last year when he did get to play. It wasn't much, but watch him play in the preseason or in the regular season. Watch the Bills game, the playoff game where he played. It was the same thing. He's okay. Oh, he patted the ball. Oh, here comes the trouble. Every single time. The guy cannot... They need to tell him, if you pat the ball, you're off the team. He'd probably be a million times better quarterback. Tell him, instead of patting the ball, just throw it. Whatever you're looking at, throw the freaking ball. Get off of this pat the ball thing. But that's enough. I'll let go of the quarterback situation for now. But either one of them needs to step up and start playing football, or they need to go. We need a quarterback. We need a backup bad. The offense was abysmal with them. We ended up with 2 field goals. One of the field goals we got because of field position alone. So, say 3 points from the workings of Skylar Thompson. That's it. I mean, so we got to do something there. Let's talk about defense a little bit. Let's see. Defense was okay. We gave up 6 points, a couple field goals. Jaden Daniels is going to be a good quarterback for the Commanders. He played a couple possessions in the beginning of the game, and when he was playing and the number ones were playing in those positions, they had their whole number ones playing for offense and defense for the first couple possessions. So we got a good idea of what our defense is going to look like. They started off a little spongy, kind of letting some runs go and some passes. Like I said, and people are going to say, oh, the defense couldn't stop a pass. Well, the passes that were being thrown, let's be realistic, they were flat passes, passes behind the line of scrimmage. And when they were in front of the line of scrimmage, they were 5 and outs. So these aren't passes that are going to score massive amounts of points. They're small dink and dunk passes, but that's what you got to do when you have a quarterback like Jaden Daniels just getting into the NFL. And while he's got a lot of talent, he's really good. I thought the Dolphins did a really good job. Their defense did a great job today. Um, Watching the defense throughout as it went to the number twos and the number threes, starting to play in the end of the first and second and third and fourth quarters. Um, I think let's see, we only gave up 6 points, and I think that we had, let's see, we had one fumble recovery, and I think we had one pick. Let's see. There was four sacks for us. We had 4 sacks, and I think we had the one pick. I tell you what, a couple players that I wanted to mention here. My dark horse to make this defensive team for the season. Everybody's got these players that they're watching, and I've been watching a couple. And I started watching him just because of his name. I thought it was the coolest name ever when we picked him up, and I was just like, oh, this kid, I love this name. I want him on the team. Well, now I really want him on the team. Storm Duck. And if you watch this game tonight, they were throwing at him heavily. And he got a lot of playing time tonight. Storm Duck did fantastic. He was everywhere. He was all over the field, and even if he wasn't the one making the tackle, he was in on other things. He was directing players where they needed to go to get tackled. I think he had 2 tackles or 3 tackles or something like that. But they were throwing his direction all night, and he was shut down. He was shutting people down. Every time a ball got thrown his direction, you knew whoever he was guarding was not going to catch that ball. He was tight. He was on players all the way down the field, especially at the end there where they were just lobbing passes into the end zone trying to score like it was the Super Bowl. Storm Duck was back there just knocking them down, playing just nut defense. Amazing defense. So I was really impressed with Storm Duck. He was all over the field. He had shutdown coverage, and I realized he was playing against the 2s and 3s, but he's a 2 and a 3. So I don't want to hear that while he was playing against 2s and 3s. Well, he's not going to be a starter. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is watching him play, the dude needs to make the team. He's going to grow. If he keeps playing like this and working like he has been in practice, he's going to be incredible. So Storm Duck did great. Another one that I'm so happy to be able to say his name and not be talking him down. Channing Tindall, amazing play today. All over the field. Everywhere. I think 6 tackles, something like that. He had a half a sack, 1 tackle for a loss. He was all over. He was doing great. He played amazing. Let's see. Who else was I wanting to talk about? Kendall Fuller did good. He played wonderful. Elijah Campbell was incredible. When he was on the field, he was incredible. He had the other half sack was with Mark Perry. So Channing Tindall and Mark Perry had that half a sack together. It was Channing Tindall that had that sack. If you watched it, you know. Mark Perry kind of touched him at the end, and he got the half a sack for it. But it was Channing Tindall. Marcus May played great. He had 7 tackles. Let's see. Isaiah Mack had a sack. Neville Gallimore had a sack. Brandon Peely had a sack. Yes. Alaska boy. I love it. Brandon Peely did well today. And not just that 1 sack. He was everywhere. He had a couple hits on the QB too. So, I mean, he was in the backfield playing around. So, good for Brandon Peely. Like I said, our 2s and 3s on defense today did great. They were playing well. I don't really have much complaints on the defense. Like I said, those first couple possessions, they looked a little spongy, but not to the point where I'd say there's a problem. We did not have all of our defense first stringers on the field, so that's another thing to think about. They had all of their number 1s playing on offense and defense those first couple possessions. So knowing that and knowing that we weren't playing with all of our number 1s on offense or defense to start, I feel pretty good about it. So, and you guys, I mean, go watch the game, watch the highlights. You'll see the things that I'm talking about, and I'm not leading you astray here. So, I covered that. I covered Channing Tindall. talked about how crappy the offense was without Tua. There's good things to look for here. There's definite room to improve for defense. So, and we've got another game coming up, for preseason before the cut and everything like that. So we got plenty of time to grow and to learn a little more and get some of these players going a little more. I thought today was a definite improvement on defense and offense for us. It was great to see the first stringers play, minus the few that weren't playing on offense. Our offense played well in the beginning there. Marched down the field, score a touchdown. They couldn't even be stopped. Could not be stopped. There wasn't anything they could do. There was even a play where I can't remember who it was that got into the backfield against Tua, and Tua had just gotten back, it was like 5-step drop. Tua just dropped back 5 steps, planted his foot, and he was looking to the left, and the player wasn't open, so he turned his attention to the right, and he saw a defensive end coming in towards him. Can't remember who it was. But as soon as he saw him, he dropped back a little tiny bit more, took half a step backwards just to give him enough time, leaned a little bit to the left, and kind of threw a sidearm like Brett Favre type of pass. Just kind of slung it underneath the armpit of the defensive lineman coming at him. And it was a catch, and it was a first down on that play. Those are the kind of things that I feel like Tua didn't do very much, and I want to see more of it. I want to see more of the savvy type of play, you know what I mean? Like that, like the Brett Favre kind of stuff, Like I'm not afraid to throw it underhanded or sidearm. So it was good to see, and I'm happy with that. Also, I gotta say, it was kind of nice to see Noah Igbenogany on the Commanders. I used to like him when he played for us. I know he wasn't that great, and I know he had to go when he went to Dallas, but now he's on the Commanders, and he's trying to kind of revive his career a little bit. It was nice to see him playing out there, having a good time. He was joking around with some of the Dolphins players in between plays. It was nice. Overall, good game. It was fun to watch. I like to see all the players growing and putting in all this effort, seeing some of it pay off. Like I said, the Marcus May was all over the place. 7 tackles in a preseason game. Didn't play that much, so he did great. Isaiah Johnson got 6 tackles. Yeah, that was another good performance. Cater Kogu played well when he was in there for a while, only a couple possessions, and four tackles. So good for him. He had 1 tackle. That was including a tackle for a loss. So Cater playing in the nickel, doing well, and that's what I want to see. I want to see Cater stay in the nickel. I feel like kind of his undoing last year was not being in the nickel. I think that was a big thing for him. He's a nickel corner, and having him back home in the nickel, it's going to be good for him. It's going to be good for us on defense. So good for him. Mo Kimura, 1 tackle for loss and another tackle, so 2 tackles. Played pretty well. He didn't play much. Chop Robinson did well. Our rookie class is looking great. Are they all going to be starters? No, not a chance. But from what you want for a rookie class, they're going to make the team. Our rookie class is looking great, so we shouldn't be upset at all. They're playing well. I was impressed with Neville Gallimore. He had a sack and a couple tackles. He really filled in nicely. Pun intended. He filled in well. He's huge. Cyril Neal had a couple tackles, including a pass defend. I'm not sure what Buffalo was thinking getting rid of him and Jordan Poyer. Jordan Poyer and Jalen Ramsey did not play today, by the way. So just seeing, especially, the Bills are just thirsty on defense. They have nothing, and they're getting rid of these players. Cyril Neal was traded to us as a special team guru. Like, he wasn't even supposed to be playing corner, and here he is, playing corner and making a showing of it, like doing well. So good for Cyril Neal. Nick Needham had a couple tackles, including a pass defend. It says here Storm Duck only had 1 pass defense. That's not true. I don't know where ESPN is getting their stats from. I need to look at the other pages, because I know for a fact he had at least 3 pass defensed. So whatever. Ogba had a tackle. Jordan Brooks played a little bit today. It was good to see Jordan Brooks on the field. Good to see him play. He did well. Like I said, as far as our defensive players go, aside from the quarterbacks, looking at this list of all the people who were in the game, I guys, they did great on defense. Let's look at offense real quick. Uh, Malik Washington only had one catch for 4 yards, but I mean, they only targeted him, I think, 4 times, and all these targets for Malik Washington were targets from Pat White or Mike White. Pat White. There's a throwback for you, Mike White. And they weren't particularly good throws, so I wouldn't really fret too much on that. Um, Julian Hill had one catch for 8 yards. Chris Brooks had a catch for 9 yards. I didn't even see that. Wow, that's crazy. Eric Ezekama put in work today. 5 catches, 65 yards, and his longest catch was 35 yards, and he had a 13-yard average. So those 5 catches were on 7 targets. Once again, there was some really crappy passes in there, so good on Eric for catching 5 out of 7. I'd say 4 of those catches were darn near uncatchable. Like, they were just bad passes. So good for him. And of course, the lone touchdown was River Craycraft. That was from Tua. He had 2 catches for 30 yards. For as far as rushing goes, Chris Brooks did great today. He really was a force. He didn't play all the time, but he had a decent stat. He had 5 carries for 63 yards. So that's like 12.6 yards per carry. And one of his rushes was 59 yards. Chris Brooks looked great. Did wonderful today. He might deserve, the preseason game ball on that one. So I really hope that he ends up. I don't know what they're going to do with the running back room. We are stacked at running back. I hope he makes the team. Achane had 2 carries for 10 yards. Raheem Mostert had 5 carries for 7. Don't worry about it. He only played 1 possession. And you pretty much knew they were going to hand the ball off to him, so the defense just queued on it. But he did one of those yards that he got was a very important one. Got us a first down, so that was big. Ezekama had a rush for 6 yards in there too. We did okay, guys. It was okay. It was good to watch. Good football. Just wish we had a better second string quarterback. Let's see. Next week, I would look for the Dolphins to have some of their starting wide receivers play. I think Tyreek and them will get maybe 1 or 2 possessions at the end there. Realistically, I'd probably say Tua is going to get 1 or 2 possessions as well. I really don't think Tua needs it. He looked great. He looked like he's got things under control, and I can't wait to see him play this year. And one thing I want to talk about, now that we're done talking about the stats and how everybody did in the game, let's talk about the AFC East real quick before I get out of here on you guys. I'm sorry if it goes too long. I am so excited for the AFC East games this year. The divisional games are going to be incredible. The Patriots are gonna. I'm certain they're gonna do a little better than last year. Are they going to be turning heads and making the playoffs? I don't think so, but they're going to be okay. The Jets, they're a big question mark as far as in my head. Everybody's saying Jets are going to be winning the division, or the Bills will. I don't believe it. And it's not just being, biased here. I really do think the Dolphins are going to win the division this year. I think this is the year that we get a playoff win or 2 and make a push into the playoffs, not just make the playoffs and then poop the bed. I'm talking about make a push into the playoffs. It's looking more and more like this is going to be the year. And it's not because of any other team, but the Bills don't have it. I would not be shocked. In fact, I've been telling some of my buddies and stuff on X that I feel like this is the year that the Bills finish last. Watch the Bills end up in the cellar in this season. Watch them finish 4th in the AFC East. The Patriots could very well end up 3rd, and the Bills could end up 4th. So I'll say it right now, for the record. And you can at me on this, and you can argue with me, and it's fine. I'd love the comments. So I feel like this year's AFC East rankings is going to be the Dolphins number 1, the Jets number 2, the Patriots number 3, and the Bills at the cellar, missing the playoffs and wondering what happened. So I'm calling it right now. Dolphins win the division, and the Jets coming real close. In fact, the schedule for the NFL this year, I'm really thinking that near the end of the season, let's see. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Week 18. Is it week 18 or is it 17? It's week 18. Miami Dolphins at New York Jets. In New York. That's January 5th. It's going to be a cold day in New York, well, New Jersey. But watch that game end up being for the division. I can see it. That's also that week Buffalo plays New England, so it's division games for all of the AFC East week 18. So it'll be Miami at the Jets and Buffalo at New England. But watch that Miami and New York game week 18. That might end up just being for the division at the end of the year with everything on the table. That's when Miami needs to do it. It needs to change this year, and that's the game that they're going to have to do it in. I think New York is going to be very good. I don't think they're going to beat the Miami Dolphins this year for the playoff positioning and to win the division. I think the Dolphins will do it, and I think it's going to happen in that game. I think leading up to Week 18, we very well could have the same record, the Dolphins and the Jets, and I think the Dolphins will win this game, but I'd be willing to put a Buffalo nickel on this game being for the division. So something to think about there. It's going to be a great season, guys. And girls. It's going to be a great season. It's a good time to be a Dolphins fan. It's been a long time that the Dolphins community has gone through a lot of crap. And the Jets, too. I mean, for that matter, they've gone through a lot of crap, too. They've been perennially terrible. And this year, things look like they're finally going to be able to put things together and have Aaron Rodgers play more than a few minutes. And shout out Richie from Jets Media. Richie on BetUS TV, the AFC, the Huddle, he was talking about it, and he said, it's been 2 years that the Jets fans have had to wait for this opportunity to see what they are. They had to wait all year because they couldn't really see, because Aaron Rodgers was hurt so early in that first game that they never even had a chance to see what they were with Aaron Rodgers. And now they get that opportunity. So I can feel for that. Like, I empathize with Richie. In fact, I even commented on it and told him, you're probably the only Jets fan that I can stomach. I do appreciate his input on some of these things, and he was pretty brutally honest about it, saying, he just wants to see if they're good or if they suck anyway. And I can understand that, and I hope that he finds out this year. And for what it's worth, Richie, I really do think you guys are going to be pretty good this year. I think you're going to be right up there, and I think you'll make the playoffs too. So, and I hope we beat you. Anyway, I think that's about it, you guys and gals. Gotta stop saying that. But we got one more week of preseason game, and then after that we got the week before and the cutoff for the roster. As we get closer to the season starting, I'll do another video like this after the last preseason game, and then we'll get into who's going to make the team, who's not making the team, and I'll do a season prediction, record prediction, and go through all of that. So thanks for watching, guys, and if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the comments. If you have anything you want to say, if you disagree with anything I said, comment, like, and share. Subscribe. Get me going in this. I'm just getting started. I appreciate the time. Thanks for listening. Fins up.